Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. Welcome to another episode. And today I'm here with Jessica Millhiser, and we are going to talk about business, obviously, because that's what our show's about. But the big thing is, are you set up strategically and do you have a solid foundation to be able to grow and to scale and to be able to enjoy what you're doing and have a very positive client experience? So Jessica has a 5-pillar foundation that we're going to talk about. And so without further ado, Jessica, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Hi, yeah, good morning, Charisse. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you and your audience. So I am Jessica Millhiser. I'm the owner of JMills Consulting, and I'm a business consultant and strategist. And really, my work focuses on internal structure, business fundamentals, business foundation, because I really believe that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners, when they're getting started in particular, or even when they're kind of earlier on, a lot of what they're focusing their time and attention on is external. They're like, I need money and I need clients and I need to market and network and all the things. And yes, all of those things are true, but what happens next? What happens then? How do people experience your business? How does your business actually operate and function internally? And those are the pieces that I love to work with people on and support them in and working really through those 5 foundational pillars that you mentioned.
And that's not the fun part. I mean, let's
It's not. It's really, I mean, for me it is. Like I
right,
love it.
right.
That's how my brain works. I want to problem solve and I want to tailor, customize all the things, but most people are like, I just want to do what I like to do and get the clients and not have to worry about the actual business component.
hmm Okay, so and this is a perfect example. So today, I create a new company because I don't have enough.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. And so I'm like, okay, well, now what? Because I have new clients, and I'm like, this needs to be a separate company from the other ones I'm doing. And so obviously, I mean, created the company. And so now, what do you recommend to a new business owner that's like, okay, I got my name, I registered it with the state, now I'm going to get my VIN. So now what?
Okay. Yes. What I would say is, do you have so quick high level, right? Like the 5 pillars are business identity, who
Mhm.
you are, what you're about, where you're going as a business, mission, vision, values, right? Pillar number 2 is client journey, client experience.
Mhm.
Pillar number 3 is going to be more around business organization, business processes. Pillar number 4 is team growth, and pillar number 5 is strategic planning. So for somebody that's like, I'm just getting started, I would say build out your business identity. Really try to get to the heart of who you are, what you're about, and where you're going as a business. How do you define success? What are you trying to achieve with the work that you're doing?
Mhm.
And what will happen with that is that will help you figure out how you're showing up, who you're trying to attract, what your target audience might be, where networking might be appropriate for you, what kind of content and messaging you're putting out. But most importantly, it'll help you determine how you define success and the vision for your business. Because it's really difficult to figure out how to get somewhere if you don't know where you're going. So trying to figure out, what do I want the next couple years to look like? Where do I want to be at the end of this year? And then that begins to build out your benchmarks and your roadmap. So that would, I think, be a really solid place to at least start.
Mhm.
And then from there, you could move into client journey, client experience. And what I would touch on with that is it's really kind of twofold, right? So client journey internally, how do people experience your business? How do you take consultations? How do you onboard a client into your business? What are the deliverables? What are the client touch points and communication points? And how do you offboard a client when they're ready to move on? So all of those are kind of back end logistics and functionality. But on the front end, how does that impact your client experience? Because if you're a service-based provider in particular, your clients are your greatest asset. So you want to make sure that their experience with you is flawless.
Mhm. I love that. And I think that so many times it's so easy to not have that. And now more than ever, because obviously I do have multiple businesses, and my one that is like my bread and butter, my real estate business. And it's interesting that this year alone, very specifically, my clients are very analytical this year. Like
Mm,
never have I had this analytical, and they're like step by step people. And so, I mean, thank heavens I created a checklist for if when you're buying a house, here's the process, or when you're selling,
yes.
and they literally would like, okay, Charisse, so we're at this step. Okay, now we're at this step. Okay,
Yes.
and they would be reading it to me on the phone. Well, it says that it's 14 to 21 days. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll update that because it's changed, you know?
Yes,
And
I love that. Like people, I really do feel like people want to know,
mhm,
how are you getting me from here to there?
yeah.
What are the steps? What's the
Mhm,
process? Can I trust you to guide me, to
mhm,
direct me as the expert to get where I'm trying to go, to give me the outcomes that I've signed up for?
yeah.
And a lot of that comes down to your processes, your communication, and just making sure that the client feels like they're in the know, like they know what we did today and where we're going next.
Mhm. Yeah, I love
So
that.
I love that you have that. It sounds like I mean, that's great.
Created out of necessity. But this year yeah, it's been utilized more by my clients than ever before. So it's just interesting how this year is so much different than the other 9 years that I've been doing
I
it.
think people are becoming more, like you said, analytical, but I think they are becoming more critical
Mhm.
and having an awareness of like if I'm investing, if I'm making these big changes, if I'm buying into certain things, they really are doing their due diligence.
Mhm.
They're like, I want to understand how this person works. Do we align? Do I feel like they get me? They understand my pain points. They're trying to deliver. So I do feel like we're in a space where people are becoming a lot more critical
Mhm.
around when and where and how they're investing.
Yeah, it's true because there's so much uncertainty right now. And
Yes.
so yeah, I agree with that. And they're trying to make sure that, and they're busy. I mean, things are
Yes.
busy right now. And so it's like, okay, I got to have a checklist so I know what
Yeah.
to
I
expect.
love checklists. I'm a big fan of checklists, so that makes my heart happy.
That's true. That's true. So you mentioned the very beginning business vision and
Mhm.
a mission statement. Why is that so important?
Yeah, I get that question. I was actually on a call earlier this morning, and she asked me the same thing because we oftentimes, especially if maybe you have a corporate background, you're
Hmm.
like, oh, mission, vision, values. And it's sort of this like ethereal thing that just floats,
Hmm.
but is never really implemented. And I love to make it tangible,
Hmm.
especially if you're a solopreneur, especially if you're a small business owner. I really believe that your mission, vision, values should permeate top down, right? It's how you make sure you're aligned with how you're making business decisions, with what you're saying yes or no to, with where you're spending your time, energy, and money, with how you're growing your team and what that looks like. When you're doing hiring, like share your mission, vision, values. Do they buy into that? Does it excite them, right? When you're thinking about having consultations or working with clients. Like, again, it's all about alignment
Hmm.
and really letting the business identity component permeate through your business culture and not be an ethereal thing, but be a real, true, tangible thing. I really consider it your North Star.
Yeah.
So using it on the day to day is how you can really make sure that your business feels aligned and strategic and intentional with what your goals are.
I love that. And I don't remember what it was. I was watching something or listening to somebody talk. I honestly am upset that I can't remember. But they said that they had walked into NASA. This is during the JFK race to the moon or time. And they asked, or he asked a janitor, what do you do here? Because he didn't know.
Mhm. Mhm.
He was just talking with somebody. And the janitor said, I'm helping get our men to the moon.
Yes.
Like, oh, what specifically do you do? And he goes, well, I'm the janitor. And so they said that he was so impressed because everybody that had worked at that site at that time, they were so mission focused of this
Yes.
like my job is important because you want to be able to sit down and do your duty on a
Yes.
clean toilet so you can get back to work. I mean,
Yes.
everybody had bought into that. And if they can,
Yes.
and if you can get people, that's the part that's so much fun is when they believe in what you're doing as a company as a whole, and then it really does matter. And they
It's
feel,
all about the culture,
yeah.
right? It's part of your culture, it's
Hmm.
part of your identity, and you want that buy-in from
Yeah.
everybody.
Hmm.
This is what we believe in, this is what we care about, this is what we're trying to achieve. And that really does start with your business identity.
Yeah, I agree. And another, going along with that, the experiment where, and I talked about it in my book, but they blindfolded people and they said, okay, walk in a straight line. And
Oh,
what happened was, I mean, every single time the person would walk in a circle because you don't
mm,
know. It's just one of those things. And I feel like with business, when you don't have a vision, you don't know where you're going. You don't have an end point. So people are just
correct.
like, oh, I'll show up to work, but what am I doing today? What's the point of it? So
Right.
I love that that's one of the like first basic things that you encourage people to do.
Yes, 100%. And even if you've been in business a while,
Mhm.
like revisit your identity. Because I've done business identity work with people that have been in business 20 years, with
Mhm.
people that have been in business 5 years, with people that are just brand new. And it doesn't really matter. Like, because again, it needs to be revisited.
Yeah.
Your business goes through iterations, it goes through shifts. So constantly revisiting it. Does this still align? Does this still make sense? Is this where I'm trying to go?
Mhm.
So it's never too late.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so let's talk about people, for our listeners that have had a business for a while. They're wanting to grow or they have grown, but it's time to continue to hire people. I hear this all the time. Well, there's no good people out there, so I don't know what to do. Or we don't trust anybody to do what we need to. So what's your advice to those people that are getting ready to hire either their first time people or their 10th person or their 100th person?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I bump into that a lot myself. People are like, it's faster and easier just to do it myself. Again, it's going to come back to what is the vision for your business? Do you want to grow a team? I'm a solopreneur by choice, right? But there are people that want to grow an agency, want to build a team, want to become larger, bigger scale, all the things. And to those people, I would say, start building a resource center. Start building out what are your SOPs? What are your processes and procedures? What is that documentation? Where is it available? And is it written? That would be my top recommendation. But then video can also be helpful, recordings. And a way to start, if you're like, oh man, I haven't started that, think about the position that you're trying to hire. Think about the tasks that you're trying to offload and start there. Start building out the resources for the person that you're trying to bring on. Maybe that's an admin assistant. Maybe that's, a quality control person. Maybe that's a manager, whatever that is. Figure out what you want them to do. Build out those resources. Then what I would say is identify what's my budget? How many hours am I looking for this person to work a week? Is it full-time, part-time? Is it a VA? Is it something else? And then start to identify, thinking about what are the roles and responsibilities? What are the qualifications you want them to have? So my work in this space is I help people build a hiring and training manual and an employee handbook or contractor welcome packet. Those are basically a plan and path forward to hiring well, ideally the first time. There's no magic bullet, right? You may have to go through a couple folks before you find the right fit. But if you cultivate a hiring and training plan,
Mhm.
you are more likely to succeed.
Yeah.
So in that plan includes, hey, what's the job description, etc. Where are you finding these applicants? How are you interviewing them? What questions are you asking? How are you going to know that they're a right fit? So you could incorporate the business identity components to make sure that they're an aligned individual. And then you need to think about, okay, great, I found my person. How am I hiring them? How am I onboarding them? What do I need from them to onboard them? And then what am I training them in on? And the training component is oftentimes the most intensive part of this because A, what resources are available? And what is your plan for bringing them in? What are you doing day one? What are you doing week one? What are you doing week two? How do you anticipate the training and knowledge transfer to take place? Because some people are like, well, I just need somebody to come in and do it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, yes, that could potentially maybe work.
Mhm.
But if you invest the time and energy up front and you spend a solid 2 to maybe 4 weeks really trying to train them in a methodical, planned, organized way, that will allow you to let them go in terms of like, okay, got it, you're trained in, run with it, you've got it,
Mhm.
holler at me if you need me, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. And my husband, when he came to work for me, like I'm the type that I'm just going to figure it out, right? And so I'm just going
Yeah.
to go and I'll do it. And not everyone's like that.
Yeah.
And if I had to show someone else 3, 4, 5 times, I'm like, okay, I've shown this to you. Like, start writing some notes down and stuff, and or write the procedures so that we can have it for the future. And then a couple
Yes.
weeks go by, and it's like, okay, he has to do that task again. Now he doesn't remember. I'm like, okay, write it down, and I
Yes.
want you to publish it so that it's somewhere, right?
Yes.
But a lot of times we as entrepreneurs, we take for granted that we are the go-getters, and that's why we opened up the business. There's
Right.
other people that they want to show up, punch a clock, and that's that, then they're done and forget about it. And so I think that training is one of those things, and um, it's my weakness, it's my kryptonite. It really is because I mean, I
Mm,
used to be a teacher, but
sure.
to sit down and like have to go through all of that and they're like, I don't get it, I don't understand, and I'm like, it's that, I mean, it should be that easy, but not, it's not, because I've been doing it so long. It is easy.
Correct. You have information bias,
Yeah,
knowledge
yeah,
bias. Hmm.
absolutely. And
And
so, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's why the resources are
Mhm.
so valuable,
Yeah.
so that yes, you have a training plan. And part of that training probably includes, hey, let's talk through all the things. Let's talk through your role. Here's where the resources are located. Okay, now shadow me
Right.
on X, Y, and Z. Okay, great. Now take a few tasks and do them on your own, and let's
Mhm.
come back together and talk through it. Okay, now maybe I'm going to shadow you as you do some of the tasks. So it is, and I think this is the piece, I think this is the disconnect when people are trying to delegate or when people are trying to bring on a new team member. They don't understand that it is time intensive on the front,
Right.
but it will pay dividends on the back.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. In a couple weeks, like you said, just prepare for that it's going to take you a couple weeks to
Yes,
get them onboarded, but the amount of work they can take off your plate,
yes,
so worth it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay, so that's the next thing is getting things out of your head and onto paper. Like how?
correct.
Because again, your mind's going 20 million different ways, and oh, now I have to write this procedure down. So are there ways or AI methods that you recommend to use to make it
Yeah,
easier?
so that's a great question. And this is, I think, the one piece that people struggle with maybe the most because they're like, I don't have time to do this. I don't want to do this. What's the actual value in this? But what I would say to that is, even if you're a solopreneur or if you have a small team or a large team or whatever, the purpose of documentation, the purpose of SOPs is to make your work consistent, reliable, and easily repeatable. And
Mhm.
the only way to do that is to get it out of your head and onto paper. So you can like hire consultants like myself to like help you do that. You can use AI. My thing with AI is like take chat for example.
Mhm.
Write me an SOP for XYZ. It could do that, but it won't be customized to you. So
Mhm.
that's kind of the only issue there. What I would maybe recommend instead is using something like Scribe, which does both like, hey, do a recording of the task, and then it will video record the task, but then also create written SOPs as well. And I would highly recommend having written and video because if you're changing, if like down the road you decide to change a process,
Mhm.
or maybe you've changed platforms and now that's changed your client process. You now have to go re-record all the videos.
Mhm.
Whereas if maybe you have written documentation instead, you can go to like those few specific lines
Mhm.
and make those specific updates. So what I would recommend here is I have a document, it's called 2025 updates. And anytime I make a change to a process, if I don't get to it right away, I just add it to that doc. Changed my software platform, changed my consultation process, whatever. So I know later where to go exactly to update my own processes.
I love that. That's such a good idea.
And it's the tedious stuff, right? It's the
Yeah.
tedious stuff. But these are the things that really allow your business to be sustainable
Hmm.
and ultimately give you more time back.
Yeah, that's true. So, thinking back from when you started your business, what are some things that you wish, and it's funny because this is what you teach is starting the business, what you need to do.
Yeah.
What do you wish that you would have known that you know now when it comes to your running your business?
That's a fantastic question. And I do think it's interesting for me because my natural skill set is helping people in this way. I
Mhm.
have been able to utilize that for my own business. I would say the place that I have struggled the most really is in pipeline growth, in marketing. Marketing is not really my skill set. Like, I just want to get in, do the work, do the project, all the things. So I think for me, the biggest learning curve was around marketing, was around content and messaging and figuring out how to show up so that people want to take action and like book that call.
Yeah.
So if I'm being fully transparent,
Mhm.
that's probably where I need the most support in my business. Not necessarily the foundation component, but the marketing component for me.
Mhm. And it's interesting that, I mean, and that's why you hire coaches for different things, because one
Yes.
person's not going to know everything. Because I would call myself a PhD with marketing because I paid someone for 5 years to learn how to do
Nice.
that. So
Yes.
I should know, right?
I actually had a marketing consultation this morning.
Oh,
I was
really?
like, tell me what you do and if you can help me. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So how do you get your clients right now then?
I would say it's 100% word of mouth. So it's either current client or past client referrals, or networking referrals. And I'm very proud of that. I love that my work really speaks for itself, and I work really hard to make sure that my client experience is exceptional. So I love that that's how I'm getting my clients currently, but it's not quite at the cadence that I would like to see. I would love to see just like a little bit more consultations coming through. So that's what I'm currently trying to work on in my own business.
Okay. I was talking to someone because it's a colleague of mine. He wants me to go into business with him. I'm like, there's too many, like, I don't have enough Charisses, right?
Yeah,
And
yes.
he's like, well,
Just
if we
start
could do
cloning.
this, we could be millionaires every month and stuff. And I'm like, that's fantastic, but there's a huge, like, you got to get over this. And he's like, I just don't understand why people won't do this. And I'm like, well, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get to home base with them before they even have announced your name. They don't even know who you are when you come up to bat. I
Yeah.
said, you've got to date the people. You have to go to first base and then second base, then third base, and then home. And you're
Yeah.
just wanting to jump into bed. And he's like, well, Sharice, I'm from New York. That's the way things start.
That's how we do things.
I'm like, well, it doesn't work that way. People don't know who you are. You have to groom them. And he's like, well, I don't have time for that. And I said, well, they're not going to give you what you need then. And so,
Yeah.
and we're talking like investors giving money so that he can
Sure.
use that to fund other people's deals. Well, if he's wanting,
Got you.
give me $1 million. You have $1 million. Give me $1 million. You're like, I don't know
Why should
who
I
you
give you
are.
my $1 million?
Yeah. And so I'm sitting there talking to him about all the things that we need to do to like date them. And he's like,
Right.
I don't have time. I'm open to it, but I don't have time. And so I think that we as business owners have to remember that you have to like it's know, like, and trust. You have to be able
Yes.
to know you, then you have to like them, and then you have to trust them, and
Yes.
then you might go further with them. And
And I was at a networking event a couple days ago, and I think the old adage was like people need to see you, hear from you, have your visibility. It was like 7 or 8 touch points.
oh yeah.
And now I think it's more like 22 touch points is
Oh
what
really?
somebody said. And I was like, 22 times before somebody even is like, yep, let's go for it. I was like,
Mhm.
oh man. So I
Mhm.
think it's definitely changed in the world kind of sensory overload and
Mhm.
marketing overwhelm and like all the things. So really trying to cut through the noise, it takes a lot more time and it takes a lot more effort. And I think it takes a lot more authenticity, really, just being transparent and showing up truly as yourself. And the right people will resonate with you when it's time.
And I think because this is something I thought, well, what I'm building somebody else already has that program created and they have all these clients and they're doing all these things. And so it's easy to get in our mind, well, they could do it so much better than me, right?
Hmm.
But can they? Because the people I'm looking to reach don't. they probably don't resonate with those people. They'll resonate with
Sure.
people more like me. And so I think that you have to make sure that you're finding your people, your tribe is what I call it. And just because there's 15 other people doing the same thing as you are, there's only one you and how you do
Yeah.
things. And so to get that out of your head that, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. No, what is your unique thing that you offer?
Yeah, and I love that you touched on that because I went down an EOS path for a little while. Entrepreneurial Operating System. I think it was by Gino Wickman. Anyway, he talks about some of that stuff. And one of the things that he touches on, which I think is a really great reminder, is what are your three uniques? What
Yeah.
are the three things that differentiate you from other people?
Mhm.
And maybe that's your experience, maybe that's your background, maybe that's just little fun facts or quirks about yourself or how you interact with clients and things like that. So really try to think about what are three things that make you different, that make you special, that make you stand out.
And if you can't figure that out, then that's where you probably need to start because
Yeah.
there's 10,000 real estate agents in Utah, in Salt Lake County, right?
Oh my gosh.
So,
Yeah. High competition.
yeah. So what makes you stand out from somebody else? And if you can't answer that, then that's where you have to start. And I think that it's so easy to go, well, I don't have time for that. Well, actually, you don't have time not to
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's all about referral. And yes, you can get repeat customers, but if you're wanting to scale or if you're bringing people on your team that they need clients, then it is different. And so taking the time to figure out what your direction is, what you want, and what you stand for, those such key things that I don't think we talk about enough. So I'm glad that you do.
Yeah, and I love that you shared that because really one of the things that I love to bring to the table for people is the pause,
Yeah.
is the space to like, can we step back? Can
Mhm.
we slow down? What like because we're so caught up in the do, go, 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 next, that it doesn't give ourselves space or time to think and breathe and reflect and determine, am I still going the direction I want to go? Am I still making the decisions that align with what I'm trying to accomplish?
Mhm.
And giving yourself the permission to pause, to breathe, to be in the stillness, because those are where I think our best ideas come from. I think that's where we figure out like this doesn't feel right. I want to pivot to this. So give yourself permission to slow down and to pause and to take the space.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, I did not ask. Are you a mom?
I am not a mom. I'm a fur mom. I have two kitties.
No, and I'll edit this out, but I always mean to ask that before, and I'm like, okay, so we're not going to ask that question. But getting back to it. Well, Jessica, if somebody wanted to, like, they like what you offer and they're like, I really need that for my business, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can email me, Jessica at jmillsconsulting.com. I'm also on LinkedIn as Jessica Millhiser and my website, jmillsconsulting.com. Feel free to reach out, connect. Would love to hear from you and would love to support you if it feels right.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Charisse. This was fun.
And Unbreakable Moms, I hope that you heard that because the one thing that I took is you need to pause. And
Mhm.
if you don't have that foundation, if you haven't established that, then that's where you need to pause and really get that vision and clarity. And if you need help with that, then please reach out to Jessica
Yes, would love to help.
and go out and make it a great day. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.